All right, let's talk about one of the most famous stars in our night sky, the fiery red supergiant Betelgeuse. For as long as we've been looking up, it's been a familiar sight. But lately, it's been acting a little strange. And it's got a lot of people wondering if it's about to put on the greatest show in human history.
So let's just get right to it. Is the celestial titan, the famous shoulder of the constellation Orion, really on the verge of going boom? That is the big question.
So what exactly is Betelgeuse? Well, to put it simply, it's a cosmic monster. As a red supergiant, it's one of the largest types of stars out there. And it's in the final dramatic stages of its life. Which means, it's destined to go out not with a whimper, but with a truly cosmic bang. To really get a sense of the sheer scale of what we're dealing with, let's put it side by side with a star we're all pretty familiar with, our own sun. The difference is just staggering. And this is where it gets kind of wild. Betelgeuse is technically a baby. It's only about 10 million years old, compared to our sun's 4.5 billion. But because it's so incredibly massive, like 15 times the mass and 700 times the size of our sun, it just burns through its fuel at an insane rate. It really does live fast and die young. I mean, think about this. If you swapped our sun with Betelgeuse, it would stretch all the way out past the orbit of Jupiter.
So what happens when a star this massive finally runs out of gas? It doesn't just flicker out. No, it triggers one of the most violent, most powerful events in the entire universe.
We're talking about a supernova. This is the catastrophic death of a star. Its core collapses under its own crushing gravity in less than a second, and then it rebounds in this titanic shockwave that can, for a short time, actually outshine its entire home galaxy. It's just unbelievable.
And the power, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around it. In just a few moments, a single supernova unleashes the same amount of energy our sun will produce over its entire 10 billion year lifespan. All of that in an instant. Okay, so an explosion that powerful, even light years away, you gotta be wondering, right? Could it actually pose a threat to us here on Earth? The real danger isn't some kind of giant shockwave hitting us. It's the intense, focused blast of high-energy radiation, things like gamma rays. Think of our planet's ozone layer as our sunscreen. Well, a nearby supernova could just blast it away, leaving all life on the surface completely exposed to deadly UV radiation from our own sun.
And get this isn't just some sci-fi theory. Scientists have found some pretty compelling evidence linking nearby supernova to at least two of Earth's major mass extinction events, both of which show signs of a sudden loss of ozone.
So it all comes down to this one crucial number. Research has established what you could call a danger zone. For a supernova to have those really devastating effects on us, it would need to happen within about 65 light-years of Earth.
Okay, so that brings us to 2019. This is when Betelgeuse did something so strange, it made astronomers all over the world sit up and wonder if its time was finally up. This star, normally one of the brightest points of light up there, just started dimming, and it happened fast. Within a few months, it had lost about 60% of its normal brightness. This event, which we now call the Great Dimming, had everyone speculating that we were watching the final moments before the big explosion. But then, astronomers pointed things like the Hubble Space Telescope at it, and they discovered the real story was, believe it or not, even more spectacular. Betelgeuse wasn't dying, it had just blown its top. It turns out the star had a massive surface mass ejection, so a huge chunk of its own surface, this super hot plasma, just got launched out into space. As that massive cloud of material flew outwards and cooled down, it condensed into dust, basically creating a giant cosmic smokescreen that blocked the star's light from our point of view.
And we are not talking about some small stellar burp here. This eruption was absolutely colossal. It ejected 400 billion times more mass than a typical eruption from our sun. The piece of itself it threw out probably weighed several times more than our own moon.
Okay, so the dimming wasn't a death rattle. But we still know the star is going to explode eventually. It could be tomorrow, or it could be 100,000 years from now. So when that day comes, does its distance put us at risk? Well, our best measurements right now put Betelgeuse at a distance of approximately 700 light-years away from us. So, at 700 light-years, Betelgeuse is more than 10 times farther away than that 65 light-year danger zone we talked about. The bottom line is, we are safe. When it finally does go supernova, it's going to be the astronomical light show of a lifetime. So bright you'll be able to see it during the day, but it won't pose any direct threat to life on Earth.
But here's where the story takes this beautiful, cosmic turn, because the story of a supernova isn't just about destruction. In a really profound way, it's also about creation.
Think of these incredible explosions as giant cosmic forges. They're the universe's primary factories for creating and then scattering all the elements heavier than iron across the cosmos. Without them, things like gold and platinum, and even elements essential for life, just wouldn't be around in any real amount.
And this is the most profound part of this whole story. The very building blocks of our planet, of our world, and even of our own bodies were forged in the hearts of ancient stars and then delivered across space by these spectacular explosions. We are, quite literally, made of stardust.
You see, this whole cycle of cosmic life and death is completely intertwined. Some scientists even think that it was a nearby supernova that sent out a shock wave that triggered the collapse of the gas cloud that eventually formed our own sun and solar system. So, in a way, one star's death may have been the very spark that led to our own existence.
So, the next time you look up at the winter sky and you see that fiery red shoulder of Orion, remember what you're really looking at. It's not just some ticking time bomb or a distant threat. In a very real way, you're looking at a key part of the cosmic cycle of creation and destruction that ultimately made all of us possible.